Wow, I missed that song. Honestly, like last week's Firefly funhouse, Randy Orton dominated that. He's dominating things you might have missed this week because it's all pretty much about him. Obviously, we're going to have to start first of all talking about the Raw cliffhanger. We did make a separate video of this when it actually first happened, but let's go a bit more in detail. Randy Orton obviously said on Raw this week he did not set Alexa Bliss on fire. He said he showed her mercy and showed her compassion. Interesting note, he said he didn't want to talk about the Fiend anymore when asked if he thought the Fiend would still be coming back. Interesting that he said he was changing. Randy himself, like all the others that have faced the Fiend before, is now changing. Does leave us with a major question of where's Alexa Bliss? Last week she wanted to literally be set on fire and basically go and see the Fiend or become the Fiend or whatever way that was going to play out. Randy didn't do it, so why is she now missing in action? I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe she's still traumatized. Maybe you could say she was a little bit possessed. We've used that word a bit before. Maybe that's why she wasn't on Raw this week. Hopefully, it's like an idea where she's planning her next move. That would be kind of cool. Randy, though, did say that obviously with his changing, how he was basically feeling a load of hate for himself. He hated the fact he showed Alexa Bliss mercy and compassion. And he said that wouldn't it be cool, basically, if he could channel all of that hate and direct it towards somebody else. But what we got was actually kind of strange. Randy said it was Legends Night and he wanted to go and reintroduce himself to some legends. And of course he walked away. He did find legends like Big Show, of course Mark Henry and Ric Flair as well. But he didn't do anything. The Legend Killer kind of tonight became the Legend Talker. Instead of attacking these legends and punting them in the head like he's done throughout his entire career, Randy Orton just verbally abused the legends and then let them pass. He gave them passes to walk away. Eerily reminiscent of what we heard in the earlier interview with Randy saying he showed Alexa compassion and mercy and didn't set her on fire because of it. Is Randy Orton changing and now unable to bring himself to attack those legends? Maybe. We kinda got something we wanted to see tonight. It wasn't exactly an attack, but we didn't really get a Legends attack by Orton. Instead, we did get a stare down between Randy Orton and IRS. If you don't know, IRS is Bray Wyatt's real life father. So of course we kind of wanted maybe Randy to attack him, maybe give Bray another reason to go after Orton. It didn't happen. But as you can clearly see in the picture, Randy is staring straight at IRS. You have Molly Holly and you have Ric Flair there as well, both smiling, happy to see Randy. IRS isn't. IRS is standing there looking like a man who saw his son get set on fire by that man. Now, WWE has never referenced that Bray Wyatt is the son of IRS. So it kind of does make sense that in kayfabe, they don't want to let that one go. They don't want to say that's the case. Maybe that makes a lot of sense. When you look at Bray Wyatt as a character, and you look at the promos from like Superstar Ghost Stories, and throughout his entire WWE career, obviously Bray Wyatt, the character, is very different to Wyndham Rotunda, the man. Wyndham Rotunda would have grown up with IRS as his father. Bray Wyatt grew up with Sister Abigail and the other children in the cabin in the woods. Kind of a bit differential, and if you start saying IRS is his dad, that gets a whole lot more complicated for the character, not the man. But if you know that IRS is Wyndham's dad, you can look at this picture and take something from it. It may not be the attack that would be super cool, but it's something, and that's cool, because if you don't know that, and you're a casual viewer, you're not missing out on anything. But if you're like us Fireflies, you gain so much from a small picture like this. Randy Orton did indeed have a match on Monday Night Raw against what the commentators called the legendary Jeff Hardy, in which we saw a flashback Of course, Jeff Hardy has those ear holes, the holes in his ear, where he puts, I think they're called ear stretchers. I'm not that cool, I'll be honest. But of course, that is a flashback from Randy Orton's past when he faced Jeff Hardy before and put a screwdriver and everything through those holes. Like, this man just doesn't like Jeff Hardy's ears, does he? It's just, it's weird. It's weird, it's sick, but it's something you might have missed. We did get a really cool moment when Randy was making his entrance to the match, and obviously Jeff hadn't come down to the ring or anything like that yet, but Randy sort of turned around right before he got to the ring steps, and you can see him there sort of looking back, and you're sort of wondering what he's thinking. The commentator said he's looking around. Obviously, the Fiend is still playing in Randy Orton's mind. Now, that's quite cool, and it's cool because obviously we know Bray, we know the Fiend will return eventually, we don't know how or don't know when, and you kind of wonder if Randy does. Now, Randy Orton did indeed say that he was going to enter the Royal Rumble match. He was talking to Mark Henry, in which part of that he started off by saying, as of this moment, I'm in the match. We said last night, and it's been reported for the last week, that Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt are set to face each other in some kind of stipulation match, and that is being reported to be a Firefly funhouse match. First of all, the obvious is, just because Randy's entered himself into the Royal Rumble match doesn't mean he has to enter the Royal Rumble match. It doesn't mean that if the Fiend shows up next week or the week after, that he doesn't challenge Orton to a match and Orton doesn't make it to the main event, which could be the Royal Rumble match itself. Or even that the Royal Rumble match happens earlier on the night, Randy maybe during the match, the Fiend returns, gets eliminated by the Fiend, which sets up a match later that night at the Rumble. It's definitely possible that the Funhouse match still takes place, so I'm not ruling it out just yet. We'll have to wait and see though. Another interesting note was, of course, Randy talking about the fact he was changing, and it just made me think when they showed the video package before the actual interview with Randy Orton, you clearly saw Randy Orton talking to Alexa Bliss, and he turned around and said, "You want to see the Fiend?" And the lights dropped, just like the Fiend. And I wonder, was that Randy controlling the lights? Was that Randy sort of saying, do you want to see the Fiend? The Fiend does all these nasty, maniacal, horrible things. And that's exactly what he was about to do if he dropped the match and set Alexa on fire. And there has been a lot of speculation that maybe the Fiend implanted all of himself into Randy Orton before Randy Orton set him on fire. Maybe sort of poisoning Randy with the Fiend. Maybe. Personally, I think what we're seeing with Randy Orton's change, however, is a weaker Randy Orton. We're not seeing Randy Orton just walk around the locker room, as we said, punting these legends. Instead, he's giving them passes and letting them walk on by. That's not Randy Orton, the legend killer, at all. And if whatever change is happening to Randy Orton is making him weaker, is that a direct poisoning by the Fiend himself? That's surely a possibility. And of course, we gotta talk about Goldberg showing up at the end of Raw's Legends Night, challenging Drew McIntyre to a match at Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship. I'm pretty confident you didn't miss it, unless you didn't watch it. That would be a good reason to miss it. But nonetheless, interesting note, it's on Raw. Interesting note, The Fiend is now on Raw. It is possible if Goldberg does beat Drew McIntyre. I really hope he doesn't beat Drew McIntyre. But if he does, why can't The Fiend win the Rumble? Or why can't a SmackDown superstar win the Rumble? Or a Raw superstar challenge the SmackDown champion? And Fiend versus Goldberg at WrestleMania. Fiend might need to get some kind of revenge on Goldberg, for last year's Universal Championship match that kind of didn't go Fiend's way. That could be a distinct possibility. It would be interesting if it did happen. Didn't see this coming at all. Very interesting. Want to see what happens at Rumble. I'm just hoping Drew wins. So there you go. The streak of things you might have missed continues. We somehow scrape one together. Maybe one of the less interesting things you might have missed we've done. But nonetheless, things you might have missed that do correlate to the Firefly Funhouse, The Fiend, and Alexa Bliss. Nonetheless, hopefully Bray, hopefully Alexa, if you're watching these videos, hopefully one day you return, because I need to shout puppet watch. It annoys my neighbours and I like doing it, so please bring back the puppet soon. Can't wait. I can't wait. I don't mind that they're not on the show at all. It's cool because it builds up that hype, and when they do return, you're going to get that massive buzz of energy, and I can't wait for that feeling. Nonetheless, interesting things happening tonight on Monday Night Raw with Randy Orton. Let me know if I missed anything in the comment section down below. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and I'll see you as always next time. Peace!